During all of the Niji Sanji stuff going on lately, there's been another situation also unfolding, one that's been kind of going under the radar. So let's take a look at this one. It involves a YouTuber and also a localization. And this is by Niche Gamer. Let's take a look at what they got to say. Update. The changes to Lovely Complex allegedly didn't make it to the final cut. Read here. Let's get the rest of the context first. So they say a freelancing contractor who worked on the English dub for Lovely Complex released a post boasting about his contempt for the original show and all the changes they made. In a now deleted / privated post, you can find the archive here, YouTuber Brendan Blaber, JelloApocalypse, explained his work on the series and his thought process behind the many changes he made to the anime series Lovely Complex in the dub from Sound Cadence Studios. So this is JelloApocalypse. Isn't that the guy who made So This Is Basically Ruby? Because that video is actually pretty funny. What a shame that he's making the news now in this manner. Firstly, Blaber was not the individual hired for the job. Instead, he was contracted by writer and voice actor Marissa Lenti to assist them. Sound Cadence CEO Amberly Connors sought to dub the show as cheaply as possible, as she's allegedly a fan of the series. So despite their open contempt for the source material, Lenti was working as the dub writer for free, and Blaber volunteered to help out. Throughout the post, Blaber attempts to justify censorship and changes from the source material, citing transphobic tropes, and his opinion that the main character Risa Koizumi is an actual psychopath and all-over useless freak. What's this say? It is quite unprofessional to openly talk trash about a property you've worked on in the industry. Lenti cannot express any opinions as they have an official relationship with Sound Cadence Studios, Discotech, and Toei Animation. I, however, was a freelancing contractor and do not have any of those things. I am not speaking for Lenti anywhere in this post. Who can say what Lenti thinks? I'm sure I don't know, but I will tell you what I think. And I think that Lovecom is a bad show about Risa Koizumi, an actual psychopath and all-over useless freak. Okay, so there's the full quote there from Blaber, apparently. Now, these are just screenshots, and screenshots can be made up, but considering that Discotech Media actually took action against JelloApocalypse / Blaber for this, it seems like these are actually more likely to be real than not. Continuing though, the biggest point of contention for the dub writers involves Seiko, a trans woman who's introduced early on in the series. Early on, Risa dislikes her, citing some vague preternatural awareness that she's trans. Rather than try and maintain the original script as closely as they could, Blaber and Lenti went on cutting things, changing context, and otherwise altering dialogue from the original translation. He even says that you can watch the English dub with subtitles on to listen to our edits in real time. Let's check out this. The Seiko introductory episode is about Seiko's gender identity, so it's not like we could write it out entirely, but we changed a lot of things to take the edge off. Nobuko's initial dislike of Seiko was changed from I don't know, I don't like her, my trans radar is going off, to being jealous there's another cute girl on campus and not wanting to lose out to a freshman. In the sub, Otani and Risa's end of episode reactions could generously be called confused, but they got the spirit about the whole thing. We rewrote those to be a lot more supportive of Seiko, especially Otani's dialogue, which made it pretty clear he was still kind of disgusted by her. There was even the option to acknowledge that the anime is a product of its time, a 2007 anime based off a manga which ran from 2001 to 2007. Not to excuse the content, but in order to preserve the series as it was for fans of the original. Instead, the changes were made by the writers, and even still, they weren't transparent about it. This bragging post notwithstanding. Instead, Blaber exposes what the industry is doing in regards to these changes, which amounts to nothing. In fact, publishers like Discotech Media, Funimation, and Crunchyroll are allegedly encouraging localizers to do what they want as long as they don't brag about it, possibly why Blaber hit the post or use certain buzzwords. So, once again, they did apparently take action here, but it seems like they allegedly only took action because of the bragging. Like, if the bragging wasn't going on, they would have just let this slide, apparently. Make of that what you will. Let's take a look. Jello then allegedly saying, of note, most anime distributors do tend to ask that you don't advertise changes like making things less transphobic. This is because large swaths of the anime community are racist, /sexist, /transphobic, etc., and will descend upon a company's social media page for weeks for the strangest things. Discotech added a content warning on one of their discs and got flack for that, so they're understandably a little skittish now. Funny/Crunchy works like this too. TLDR, most anime distributors don't care if you make things nicer or more gay or add more representation. They just ask that you don't flaunt the changes or use buzzwords. Translation and localization discourse has taken a turn where the content of what's being removed and changed has been placed at the forefront. In a recent opinion article, we suggested that the real issue at play is that changes in censorship are happening unilaterally and without transparency, no matter how well-intentioned they may be. The centerpiece of the post is when Blaber is sarcastically frustrated that their dub is this good, because he feels that anyone who picks up the show and enjoys it will only do so because of the dub. When discussing his dub in the context of the show, he says, "We made it good. This show sucked." Okay, let's take a look at this one now. Frankly, having the dub come out this good in the end is a little frustrating. And what? Anyone who watched this show as a kid and has fond memories of it and revisits the dub will think, "Wow, it's just as good as I remembered." No, it isn't. We made it good. This show sucked. It's crazy how people will literally censor material and then use the LGBT community as a shield for their corrupt behavior. And the article concludes here. The English dub for Lovely Complex is published by Discotheque Media. It's unclear what role Lenti played in the changes made to the show's content, but at the very least, it appears they were permissive of the changes made by Blaber. Thanks Scratchpoint for the Twitter post calling attention to the issue. And Scratchpoint also made an update which reads, Discotheque released a statement regarding the Lovely Complex dub situation. While dubs are often more loose, blatant rewrites by people who openly despise the source aren't acceptable. However, it's good that they're committed to accurate subs. One of the screenshots provided by Scratchpoint is this one, showing a statement from Discotheque Media and Justin Savakis. Justin Savakis, by the way, also founder of Anime News Network. And interestingly enough, has me blocked on Twitter. It seems like he's still upset from years ago when Anime News Network tried to copyright strike my channel and silence me, and then they lost that copyright dispute as Nick Rekieta helped me counter action against them, and we ended up winning. Especially crazy because even the main Anime News Network account had tweeted about me trying to say that I was in the wrong or something, to which when we ended up beating them, the CEO had also issued an apology of sorts, saying that he was wrong about the outcome of the dispute, but he still doubled down on trying to say that my video was infringing, even when it wasn't. So yeah, your boy's been going up against corpos for a while. If you haven't considered subscribing yet, consider it now. I appreciate your support because we got plenty more work to do. Now, let's return to the statements issued by Justin Savakis and Discotheque Media in reference to the JelloApocalypse situation, where Justin Savakis had issued this response regarding concerns about Lovely Complex, although this has apparently since been deleted. Let's take a look at this screenshot of it, and then more on that right after. We are aware of the comments made by a contractor that worked on Lovely Complex. The English version was made with the supervision and approval of the show's original producers. Dubs commonly punch up comedy and smooth over rough patches so that the end product aligns with the show's intended audience and provokes the intended response, and there will always be shades of gray when adopting a work. Anyone expecting exact fealty to Japanese dialogue should be watching the subtitles, which Discotheque has always presented with as little alteration as is possible when translating from a very different language. We are deeply disappointed at this individual's lack of professional discretion and will not be working with him in the future. We will continue to work on future projects with an eye towards satisfying as many fans as possible. Thank you for your continued support. Scratchpoint then adding, it appears they'll no longer be working with JelloApocalypse in the future, but the reasoning is lack of professional discretion. However, as mentioned as well, that tweet has apparently been deleted. Niche Gamer also writing about that, so let's stick with the theme and take a look at what they have to say. Discotheque Media, Media OCD owner Justin Savakis, and Sound Cadence Studio have all deleted their response to the Lovely Complex dub. The statements were prompted by a post created by JelloApocalypse, a volunteer contractor who had worked on the dub script for the show. His post was criticized for the hate he had for the source material and his contempt for fans. Shortly after, Discotheque Media retweeted an apology from Justin Savakis, saying they were disappointed with the post and would not be working with JelloApocalypse in the future. You can find a screenshot in the post below. Packer Girl saying, why did, and Justin Savakis is at there, delete this Lovely Complex, and showing the tweets which we already went over, continuing. It's possible that the responses were deleted, as it appears many of the changes Brendan Jello Blaber bragged about didn't make it into the final cut. However, it appears the door has been opened for Blaber to once again work with Discotheque, Media OCD, and Sound Cadence Studios. All three responses were deleted at approximately the same time. According to Savakis of Media OCD, they were asked to. However, it's unclear who asked them to delete the responses. The original responses were made shortly after fans became aware of the post from JelloApocalypse. Hopefully this means a more thoughtful response is coming in the near future, rather than them retracting their statement. Dimitri Monroe had also pointed this out, saying, "Pay close attention to how both localizers, and those that defend them, are responding to the discotheque situation. They are never actually saying they disagree with Jello's comments. They're saying they're mad that he said the quiet parts out loud." Dimitri including these screenshots, which, as he pointed out, includes corrupt localizers and their defenders, upset at Justin Savakis' statement and the action taken against JelloApocalypse. It's pretty insane how when anime fans ask for accurate translations, these sort of corrupt individuals will bring out all manner of buzzwords in trying to smear them. Ultimately, it's now unclear, as mentioned, if Discotheque and Co. are going to stand by their statements or not. However, as Michael Edwards pointed out here, it seems like JelloApocalypse's changes didn't even make it in anyways. And that seems to be where the situation concludes, at least for now. As always, thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed this segment, and I look forward to seeing you in the comments, as well as in the next one.